Hello and welcome to tonight's Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight race. This is the next match in the tournament. It was a while since the last one, but we have finally been able to schedule another match in our epic Momo gaming tournament. Tonight's match will be between Googler and Linzolle, and commentary today will be provided by me, DreamFox, and I also have with me,
Matos machine, that is me.
yeah, and we hope that you will have a very fun. Oh, for me, it's evening. Not sure what time it is for everyone else watching. But yeah, we'll hope you'll have a good time watching this epic Momo gaming. So this match is between Googler and Linzolle. Googler is one of the top runners, the top seeded runner in this tournament. So he will most likely do extremely well. And unless he makes some very big mistakes, I don't really think Linzolle will be able to take this. But
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with you there. I don't know if anyone can really beat Googler. Like, you're
uh,
one of the few people that maybe can, but yeah, it's gonna be tough.
yeah, and I would need to have a good day while Googler is having a bad day. But yeah, here we have it. The first race is starting. It is a best of three format, so at the very least we will have two matches. And in this game, we start out here in the Grove. The Grove is an area that has a lot of imps. They are enemies that move randomly, so you can't just have one set of inputs that you do every time and that will always work because, imps are imps and they are very random. So at the start of
Yep.
the game, you have the movement options you have is you can move, you can roll. Rolling is faster than running, and it also allows you to pass through enemies and be invulnerable while rolling. Then you have a jump and a double jump from the start, which makes the movement really smooth even from when just beginning the game. Oh, and Linzolle unfortunately falls down into a pit of spikes. Spikes in this game are insta-death. Every spike in this game will instantly kill you. They do that much damage. It's not something you want to have contact with, especially not in a race situation. So, in addition to just moving through this area here, our runners will want to collect money. That is the number you see beneath the health bar in the top left corner of the screen. With 80 money after this area, we can buy an item that will boost our damage when it is used. So picking up 3 chests in the Grove allows us to get enough money to buy that item, because it is 2 chests with 20 money each and 1 chest with 40 in it, which is exactly how much that crystal seed item costs.
Yeah, and you can you get money from enemies as well. So sometimes you can get really lucky and get like an extra money, and sometimes you can avoid a chest. But looks like neither of them are gonna have that.
Yeah, and Googler is
Googler's already heading into this first boss.
This is going to
going
be
for the skip too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does
it
not
doesn't
get
go
it.
Yeah.
There are a few frames there where if you release your arrows, like you can charge up your arrows, and when they are fully charged, if you release them, like there are a few frames, like 2 or 3 frame window, it will instantly kill the boss before you get hit by the boss. There is something with that pearl at the end of her body, which is a weak spot, and if you hit it, she takes extra damage, but there is some weird interaction with, that frame perfect, or near frame perfect arrow release that just instantly kills Edea. And the Googler had to take a more traditional Edea fight as Linzolle enters the fight. And boss fights in this game are very important. Because if you defeat a boss without taking damage, you get a special boss item, and Googler just got it. Linzolle tried to do a different setup for the quick kill, didn't quite manage to get it, but did get some nice damage in it. And here we could barely see it, but Googler stopped to talk to a merchant there and bought the crystal seed that I talked about earlier. So items in this game, you have 3 slots for active items and 2 slots for passive items. The pearl that was picked up is a passive item, which whenever your arrows hit something, they will leave a poison cloud there, and that can also poison yourself, so that is something you have to be mindful of. And the crystal seed is an active item, which boosts your damage by 50% for a short time. And active items in this game are recharged or refresh their uses every time you save at a bell, so it works very similarly to Estus flasks in Dark Souls and bonfires. And Googler is fighting the second boss here, which is a combination fight between Mocha and Lubella. First you fight against Mocha, who jumps around very erratically, and then when Mocha has taken damage, it switches over to one of the most iconic bosses in this game, Lubella.
She's on every cover art, so she's definitely one of the big sellers of this game.
Yeah. Had good luck with that fight. Lubella has an attack where she dives off screen and you can't damage her during that attack, so that is not an attack you want to see. Linzolle is not far behind right now, but does get the dive. That was the attack I was just talking about. It's like Lubella is off screen, you cannot target her, but with the poison effect from Edea's Pearl, it still takes a little bit of damage even while off screen.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good fight from both of them. And it seems like they're actually fairly close, which is pretty good. I was kind of worried when Linzolle took that death in the Grove that she would be really far behind, but it seems like it's still reasonably close.
Yeah, Linzolle had the early death in the Grove, and Googler reset the Idea fight, or got hit during the Idea fight. And now Googler is entering the subterranean graves, which has underwater physics and a lot of spikes. So, when you are underwater, or underwater movement is very slow. So you want to be rolling as much as possible, because rolling is basically as fast underwater as it is on land. And slowing is so much slower. And there is one little trick that I haven't mentioned yet, which is if you input a roll and a jump at the same frame, you will do both actions. And that is very useful here, because it allows you to have some really quick movement. But it's also very risky, because there are several roll jumps where if you miss the input and only get a roll, then that would mean that you just roll into spikes and die. And this area is pretty long, so that would be a very big time loss.
Yeah, and you save right before that cutscene, so you have to. If you die here, you're forced to, or if you die before you get to a checkpoint, you have to go through that whole thing again, which is sort of really painful.
Yeah, and Googler has not taken any safety checkpoints in this section
at all. So if he takes any damage at all during the Frida fight, it's gonna be I don't know. I guess he just plays through it.
Probably.
I guess he dies if he takes any damage now. Maybe.
Maybe. So yeah, this is the third boss fight in the run. It's Frida. Frida is, well, a bird. And Frida likes to peck at you and shoot lasers. Sometimes she spawns dogs as well, and that is probably the hardest attack to handle well, because the timing of the dog spawns and when they attack is not it's not.
Yep, and there it is. Jinxed it. Oh well, it didn't matter because it was close enough to the end there.
Yeah, and that is the third boss fight dead. And this brings us to the main objective of the game, is gathering those karst crest fragments that Googler just picked up. There are 4 of them in the game, and you need all four of them to get access to the final 2 areas of the game. And each one of them also gives you a power-up. The one that Googler just picked up allows you to charge up your bow faster, which means just basically increases the amount of damage you can do quickly. And we also have 2 new items that we haven't talked about. The Mocha and Lubella fight dropped the Bachman patch, which spawns a lot of blocks from the top of the screen that fall down on enemies. Each block does a small amount of damage, but there are a lot of them, so it adds up. And then the item from Frida, the Sparse Thread. It is an item that when you use it, it just explodes and does a nice chunk of damage in an area around you and is very useful for handling bosses. And Linzolle had a very nice Frida fight as well.
Yeah, it was she handled the dogs really well there. Took out the first one and then finished off the second with the melee. So not taking any hits there is really good. Gets that sparse thread. Here we see we're going into the Bella 2 fight. This one should be a lot quicker with these items.
Indeed.
There we go, it's over.
Yeah. Since that fight is a lot quicker, there is a lower risk of Lubella diving, but that boss fight is kinda cursed and she likes to dive a lot. But yeah, as you could see there, like the items that you pick up from bosses in this game allows you to speed up bosses after a lot. So making sure to get those boss items not only, makes the bosses go quicker, it makes all the other bosses later on also go quicker. So it is essential to learn how to do the bosses fast.
And you can do them without the items, of course, but like for some items, it's just worth it to reset and go and try the fight again to get the item in this kind of setting.
Yes.
But yeah, it can be kind of tough if you take damage on some of these bosses.
Yeah, and after... Alright, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. After defeating Lubella 2, you get cursed and turned into a cat, which is more like a blessing if you ask me. Because as a cat, you are smaller, you are faster, you jump higher, and most importantly, you are cuter. Sadly, you can't use any items while in cat form. You can't use a bow, and you can't climb ladders. But as you exit that little prison area, you find the cat sphere, which allows you to switch between cat form and the human form at will. Linzolle got a nice Lubella 2 fight as well. So here, Googler is going to just enter a room real quick and immediately turn around. You will see it right now. And that is because on that screen there is a save bell. And there are certain save bells in this game that you can teleport to. And the criteria for teleporting to a bell is to have been in the same room as that bell. And so we just mark that one off as we have visited it, and then Googler is currently backtracking in order to pick up the second crest fragment that we are getting, which will allow us to warp, which saves a lot of backtracking in the future.
Yep, and just kind of went straight through that soldier fight. That's like a little mini boss. It takes exactly 2 sparse threads to kill it though, so it's really easy to kill.
Yeah, it just jumps in, 2 sparse threads, and it's dead.
Yeah, it doesn't even get a chance to attack because of the sparse thread staggers it, so there's like nothing it can do. And here we see kind of in the cat form, it's actually slower to just roll compared to the human form. So we actually see Googler going for roll jumps with a melee at the end, and that melee cancels out like a little bit of pause that the animation has with the cat.
This area right here is located at the start of the game in the grove, near the end of the grove, but in order to gain access to it, you need the cat form in order to squeeze through a small gap, and that's why it was not picked up at the start of the game. And there, Googler just picked up the second crest that I mentioned, which was the one that allows you to warp. So now Googler will warp back to that room that he visited just briefly in order to continue going for more crest fragments. And we haven't mentioned any item from the refight against Lubella, because the item that she drops in that fight is not useful for speedruns. It allows you to gain health back when you kill enemies. So that is one of the few boss fights that you can do and take damage without having to reset or lose time.
And it's kind of unfortunate because that one's really easy to reset because the save's right in front of it.
Yeah. And now it's one of the tougher fights here, Arsonist for Googler. Arsonist has, well, based on the name, Heretical Arsonist, it's a fire-based boss. Heretical Arsonist also has a lot of health, so it is easy to make mistakes and die, because it takes a lot longer than every other boss fight. Just like that.
I was worried because he set up all the way to the far right, and when you do that, you have no room to move if she does something like that. So it's kind of unfortunate and has to reset that fight.
Yeah, and being far to the right is very good on this boss fight because the exit is on the right side of the room, and so you want to be close to the exit, but you also want the boss to be close to you because you want to pick up the boss item. And then lastly, the knight character here in this fight, Calf, who is helping us out, she wants to talk to us after this boss fight. So you want to be close to her as well. So there is a big checklist for this boss fight that you want to fill in, and it's not easy to do all of that.
Yeah, and you see that he had to move to the left there, so like you have to dodge. There's no choice in you can't take damage on this fight. This is one of the best items in the game.
Yeah, this is the Pocket Incensory. It adds a flame effect to your attacks, which adds a flat amount of damage to your melee attacks, your arrow or your bow attacks, and it also works for the Bachman patch. And it turns it from an item that, does a little bit of damage to really messing up. It really messes up bosses now. So it's a very strong item. Linzolle got hit at the start of the fight and has to reset as well. Luckily that was at the start, so it's not a huge time loss. But Googler is ahead with, well, a boss fight and a half or something.
Yeah, around a boss fight and a half, I'd say.
And as you can see Googler doing, he is dashing in the air currently, and that was the crest fragment that Arsonist was guarding. That's the third crest fragment, and that means there's only one more to go. So air dashing is very quick and just offers some really good mobility, and is probably my favorite crest fragment. Oh, Linzolle resets again on Arsonist. That's very unfortunate, as Googler enters one of the fastest boss fights.
Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, Fennel is one of the best boss fights in the game, but with all the items, as you can see, she gets deleted. Doesn't have a chance to do anything, and you just go in there, pick up the crest fragment, which allows you to charge your bow even more to like a new level of charge. I'm not sure if we have actually named them, but it's like half charge or no charge, half charge, full charge, and like overcharge, I guess.
I usually just refer to them by levels, so there's like a level 0, a level 1, and level 2.
And level 3 now after.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that one also got buffed significantly in the latest patch. So now arrows are fully charged arrow attacks with all the other buffs that you can get for it do a lot of damage. Especially because
the most damage in the game that you can do is with the level 3 charge.
Yeah, especially because the item that Fennel drops is the Bloodstained Tissue, which is sort of like the crystal seed that we bought at the start of the game that increases your damage by 50%. The Tainted Missive increases it by 100%. but it costs 25% of your maximum health to use it. And it can kill you, so you need to be a little bit careful there. But it is a very powerful item.
Yeah, the damage buffs are probably like the strongest items in the game because they stack multiplicatively too. So like, if you have 200% damage boosts, they which is what happens with the arrows. They do insane amount of damage, like not intended amounts of damage. And here we see Googler is prepping for this next boss, which is Lupiar, and charges the Bachman patch before the fight because you can, and skip the cutscene. That's really good, quick. And then kills with the level 3 and the sparse thread. So that was a really well executed fight. That fight is one of the hardest fights in the game, if not the hardest, because Lupiar sometimes does not cooperate. She likes to roll.
Yeah, she can roll and move out of your Bachman patches and be annoying. And that is one of the few enemies in this game that you cannot use arrows on. So if you do not manage to burn her down with the Bachman patch and the sparse spreads, it is pretty difficult to fight her outside of that, because I mean that's not a thing that a lot of people practice, because she's quite hard to stagger. So yeah, unless you run well, it's basically only low percent that fights her without using any item. So unless you run low percent, you are going to have a very hard time if you can't use items to burn her down.
Yeah, and we're one of the few low percent runners, so we're actually one of the few people that actually probably would be okay with doing that fight. Yeah, but neither of these runners I don't think, have done low percent.
I do not think so. Yeah, Googler is here on a small detour from beating the game, because in the Pinacoteca where Linzolle is now, he picked up an item called Sealed Wind, which he used on that windmill there in order to open a path to a well, and bathed, well, you bathe your weapon there, your leaf, you bathe it in some nice water, and now it becomes green and more powerful. So now the melee attacks do more damage, but most importantly, it is required for reaching the true end of this game. And the true ending of this game is the only one which has a credit sequence, so that is the one we require for speedruns.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it ended up being called the true ending. It's basically just the ending. Like, there's only... If you do it without that item, it basically just sends you back to the last save, and you have to go figure out what you need to actually finish the game. So it's not like a secret ending or anything.
I mean, it's basically a bad end and a good end, roughly.
Yeah.
So this is a small mini-boss that... It takes a little bit more than 2 sparse threads. You also need to do 2 melee hits to defeat it. And this is the Karth Castle. This is the final area of the game. Okay, Googler missed his movement setup there. Reset the room, which is very reasonable because there are spikes in these rooms, and as we have said before, spikes are insta-kill, and you don't want to touch them.
Yeah, this is the gauntlet. This is where you just lose a run and you cry at the end because you accidentally missed a frame and walked to the left a little further than you needed to.
Googler
gets through and gets to that save point.
Yeah, Googler is going to enter the final boss fight here against the Queen. As Linzolle beat Lupiar and Magnolia, and is making her way through, well, into the castle and then to get the wind upgrade. And yeah, the Queen is a fight which has 3 phases. And in each of the phases she starts with the same attack every time. And with the damage output we have, we can always kill or beat that phase in that attack. So it's a very consistent fight, which I really appreciate. Because getting this far into a run, if you're on a good pace, the nerves started showing up 2 bosses ago, and then you can just execute a strat that you are familiar with. And that was a very clean Queen fight, and Googler ends with a time of 23:21.
Yeah, that's a really good time. I think there's only a few people that could really even get that time. Which is you and is one of those people, as one of those people.
Yeah, 23:21 is 14th place on the leaderboards. So that is a really good time, especially with at least one reset to Edea and one reset to Arsonist. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, it kind of had some not great like fights. It seemed overall, but like in like terms of just comparing to like a personal best, still it was like an amazing time.
Yeah.
And I think that it just really comes down to movement. A lot of the movement that Googler does, I really don't see anyone else doing. It's just really hard to do it at that consistency.
Oh yeah, indeed.
And Linzolle is doing really well too. It's kind of hard to compare to someone that can beat the game so quickly, but 24 being at the Karst Castle segment at 24 minutes is really good. It's a really solid time.
Yeah, especially since Linsol's PB is like a 26:30, I believe. I looked it up and it was like a 26 somewhere time. And this is definitely on pace to be very close to that, which is very good.
Yeah, that's like probably it's doable. It's a little close to PB here, I think. But it's
Yeah,
definitely doable, which would be really cool to see.
Yeah, and that mini boss fight actually has a gimmick to it in which that mini boss spawns clones of herself, and you have to find out or figure out which one is the real one. Oh, Linzole with so very low health,
Yeah.
but manages to get through, or hopefully still
I didn't even
one
realize
room
that
left.
the health could go that low on the screen. I don't think I usually see it like a pixel. I think
Yeah,
she
this
barely has like a health.
takes it
Yeah, just
nice
playing
and
that really
slow.
safely so she doesn't take any damage.
Yeah, and now she's safe. The final boss fight left, and let's see how she performs here.
Yeah, so kind of wanting to charge those level 3s, gets a good level 3 charge there, and then just, yep, that's a good phase 2 there, ending it with the sparse thread. We'll
And
see.
also,
Unfortunately, she can't PB it at this point, but it was really close. And this final phase is going to die really quickly.
yeah, and this final phase is only here if you upgraded your leaf to the green leaf. Otherwise, you do 2 phases and you are not powerful enough to stop the queen. But yeah, that's GG 26:48. I believe that is like exactly 18 seconds behind PB, so that is really good.
Yeah, that was a really good run, and you could tell that she got a little nervous at the end too with taking that damage, which I would be too, to be fair. But yeah, that was a good run. I hope the next run goes really well for her too, because I'd love to see a PB. I would say I'd love to see a PB from Googler too, but I kind of doubt that that's going to happen in this kind of. But I mean, I guess if it did, it would be really crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this tournament has worked its magic already, and we have had several PBs in the tournament, myself included. So it's not impossible. But yeah, this is a best of 3, so there will be at least one more match after when the runners have well taken a small break and gotten ready for the second race. So yeah, this the category that is being run is any percent normal difficulty using the legacy rule set, because there was when this game had a task developed for it, there was some glitches that were discovered, which made it so that we split those new glitches into one any percent, which allows anything, even things that are probably tasks only, but potentially someone could maybe do it someday. And then a no major skips category, which allows you to skip bosses with a cool little trick that allows you to delay the transformation between cat and human form, and do some fun stuff with that uh, to clip through walls and stuff. But we're
Yeah,
doing
skip a few
this,
keys really.
yeah. And then there is also normal difficulty. So you have you have a normal amount of health. You face a normal amount of enemies. There's also easy difficulty where you have more health. Then there are hard and insane difficulties. On hard difficulty, there are more enemies and you have less health than normal. And then there's insane difficulty, which has the same amount of enemies as hard, but you only have one health, so any damage you take will kill you. And most people who play this game do run it on normal or easy because that is, well, it's more consistent and
Yeah,
easier.
normal is definitely the intended difficulty level. Hard adds a lot of enemies and stuff, so it's definitely a challenge for those that want it. And then insane is just like you have to really want to play insane to do it. And you have to play hard. You have to beat the game on hard first to unlock insane too, which is so it's not like you can do it as a complete new player.
I mean, there are ways to get around it, but that would require you to know about it beforehand.
Yeah, you basically need to have played the game to know how to get around it.
Yeah.
Or at least like know that it exists to even do it.
Yeah, and here we are entering the second race. We are back in the Grove. So the Grove is the area that has the most randomness in the entire run, I would say, because of how far the imps throw their bombs, how they jump around, when they decide to turn around, that's based on a timer, but like when they attack, how fast they go, how high they jump, that's very much random. So
Yeah, and
the
when they throw a dagger too.
yeah. So the Grove is the area where, you reset the most, which is very lovely that it is the first area in the game, so that you get a lot of the RNG or like the randomness. You can get past it before going to the rest of the run.
Yeah, you can. This is definitely a reset area where you just reset until you get one run. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse because you kind of never get out of this area sometimes if you're resetting.
Yeah, and that is one thing that is even or exacerbated on insane difficulty because the imps really like to be in
Yeah.
your way. And
There's
especially
more enemies and they all one-shot you, so it's like, ugh, just everything is working against you on insane in this area.
Yeah, Googler has a lot of money right now, 76. There is a small chance of whenever you find a piece of money that it will be golden and will be worth 5 money instead of the usual 1. So if you are lucky, you can get 80 money without picking up that final chest, which was close for Googler, but not quite enough.
Yeah,
Same for
he
Linzolle.
could have done it, but he would have had to kill another enemy kind of out of his way. So it would have been about the same as getting that chest, probably.
Yeah. Linzolle had 77 when she grabbed that chest. So let's see if Googler gets the quick kill this time. There we go.
Yeah, it looked like he had good setup there. Sometimes you can just tell when you're gonna get it.
Linzolle is opting for a slightly different setup where if you fail it, you don't die.
Oh, missed it.
Yeah, missed the release of the arrows, but did not die and can continue the boss fight. It is.
Oh, that was an amazing fairy. Oh my goodness, I've never
yeah.
seen that happen. It hit 3 on the pearl. So
yeah,
that's
that is I guess it's an item. It is a secret item where if you input up, down, down, left, right, you will summon a blue fairy, and it will spawn lasers on the screen. And it behaves like an item in the sense that you can use it once, and then you need to save to refresh its uses before you can use it again. And it's a can be a big help in the boss fights if it is cooperative, and for Linzolle it most certainly was cooperative.
Yeah, that was one of the best fairies I've ever seen. I mean, usually, you still want to do the skip, of course, on that fight, but, like, if you got that every single time, that would be so nice on that fight.
And there's also a
But yeah.
fun little audio bug that can happen, where it, like, sounds as if Edea is being hit, like, every single frame for, like, a second, and it's pretty amusing. Oh, now Googler gets a dive. Let's see if Linzolle will get. Linzolle has had really clean Mocha fights. Those are some really good Mocha fights there.
I think Linzolle's Mocha fights were actually better than Googler's. Like, I know that Mocha kind of trolled him a little bit, but it's like, well, that just shows how much RNG there is in that stage of the fight.
Ah, Linzolle gets a dive as well. Unfortunate, but I mean, it's a little bit fair that both get the dives.
Yeah, it really sucks when you get the dive on the first one too, because you have your item ongoing, and so it kind of drains all your time for that you have that damage buff going.
Yeah. And it is like a 9-second time loss, I believe, if you get a dive.
I thought it was 7, but I could be wrong. I could have heard that wrong.
I don't
know.
I don't remember exactly. What I remember is 9 seconds
it's
in
a
this
lot
fight.
of time.
Yeah, and then 12 seconds in the refight because the timing of the attack is slightly different. But yeah, so the story of this game is a lovely short little game. Like the speedrun here takes between 20 and 30 minutes. For a first playthrough of the game, it can take around 4 hours, 2 to 4 hours, depending on how quickly you play through the game and how much you explore and all of that. And it's a very cozy little game. I highly recommend it. It's very nice. It's cozy and short, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. And it's just very satisfying to play.
Yeah, there's a lot of cute characters and stuff to explore that you'll never see in the speedrun.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is like it's a very casual oriented game. I feel like it's like very well designed to, pick up on your first playthrough and have a good time.
Indeed. Yeah, and the story of this game is that you are a priestess from a village called Lun, and you notice that there's a corruption spreading to this village. So you go to the city in order to get an audience with the queen and try to stop. Figure out what is going on, what is spreading this corruption, and how to stop it. And then you get here and it's all like this. And then the rest of the game happens, so... It is.
The whole game is just trying to talk to the queen.
And then when you get the queen, you realize that, she was the source of the corruption all along. And then you purify her and everything is good.
So we're kind of going over this, but sorry. But a lot of this movement that Googler's doing is like really, really hard to actually do. Like just doing roll jumps in like exact perfect locations, and so yeah, it's like really dangerous in this location specifically with all those spikes and enemies.
Oh yeah, this is a very scary area to roll jump in. See how Frida treats Googler this time. A nice little laser beam.
Getting that good start, and looks like this part is going to be okay too. Doesn't look like the dog will matter here, so yeah, it should just be finished now with that one.
Yeah, Frida also has like a attack that is similar to Lubella's dive, in which Frida will teleport off screen and then reappear a few seconds later where you were positioned when she teleported. And when she teleports away, she actually just moves to the left of the boss arena, right next to the door to the next screen. So she doesn't actually teleport all that far, which is something that can come into play because she can die from poison while being off screen. And that means that her item will be dropped to the left, right at the entrance to the next screen, which is something that can be confusing if you have not experienced it before and you think just, oh, where's my item? So it
Yeah, I
gets
had that happen to me like a week ago where that was the first time I've ever done it, and I was like, oh, oops, where'd it go?
Linzolle got one
It's
set
definitely
of
so
dogs.
annoying.
Otherwise, it was a good fight. And gets the sparse thread and the first crest fragment. One fun thing with the other any percent category, the no major skips route, is that it does the starting bosses in a different order, where after you defeat Lubella for the first time, you go and defeat Arsonist rather than go towards Frida. And Googler is very unlucky now and gets a early dive from their refight against Lubella. That loses out on a lot of damage because Lubella dodges your Bachman patches, and you also miss out on some damage from the Crystal Seed. But yeah, going to Arsonist before doing Lubella 2 allows you to have the Pocket Incendiary, which adds the fire effect to your Bachman patch. And having that basically kills Lubella just from that alone, and makes the fight very fun to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say when he actually didn't take that save bell right before, so he didn't have that extra charge from the item, so he actually lost time, unfortunately, because she dove the second time, so he would have been able to kill if he had actually saved before the fight. Just a little unfortunate optimization for like half a second that lost him a few seconds. It's not gonna matter in the end run thing, I don't think, but
yeah,
just
usually
a little caveat to what he did.
Yeah, usually. Oh yeah, one little trick you can do is, as you drop down through a ledge, you can use an item at the same time, and there is a ledge right before the save bell, uh, before the boss. So usually what you do is you use the crystal seed while dropping down through that ledge, and then you save and refresh its uses, which means that you will enter the fight with like half the duration of the crystal seed, and then you can use it again to have it active for longer. It is a neat little trick you can do. Oh, all
Yeah,
this.
and I don't think we mentioned this
Go
earlier,
ahead.
but I think he's actually running the previous version, 105B, because it doesn't look like he's doing that transformation.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah. That is another thing that is different between, well, the latest patch and the patch that everyone speedran on before those, because there was another patch in between those which added a forced transformation into human form when talking to NPCs in cutscenes and whatnot, which made a few things, which made it like a second slower or something than the older patch at that point. But with the latest patch that increased the damage of your level 3 charge of your arrows, that has tipped the scales in favor of running the latest version. But yeah, as you said, Googler does not seem to be running that version.
Yeah, he's probably still familiar, more familiar with 105E, which is that previous version. So, I mean, it does take a little bit of time to get used to a new version of the game. There's not a ton of differences, so for like for most people, I'd say it's probably worth it to just run 107 at this point. But yeah, he's probably one of the few people where it's like he has so much experience with the previous version where it just pays off to keep running it.
Yeah, and this pace that Linzolle is on right now is really good, considering that she has not done any big mistakes. There hasn't been like a death in the grove. Did not get the quick kill on Edea, but did get that really good fairy. I don't think there has been a reset yet, though.
Yeah, he was really close to resetting in the subterranean area, but did get through it really close, really like barely. But yeah, her run is really good right now, so hopefully she can continue up this pace.
Yeah. Googler grabs the warp fragment and will move on and head towards Arsonist. See if Arsonist will behave more this time. Or if Arsonist will be as Arsonist can be.
Yeah, Arsonist is she just has the most health of any game. She has more health than like any of the Queen phase, like any of those fights, so it's just like such a painful fight to do because she's like you only really can kill her, or you can only really consistently damage her with the arrows, which usually you want to be doing melee attacks and charging up the arrows at the same time, but since you can only do arrows, like fire them one by one, you're kind of missing out on that potential melee damage, so it ends up being like one of the longer fights, if not the longest fight.
Yeah,
In
and
like for one section.
yeah, and weaving in as many melee attacks as you can is is one of the key ways to speed up this fight. But identifying when it is safe to attack is really difficult, and it takes a lot of experience.
Yeah, and just in terms of spacing too, like all of her attacks require you to basically be further than melee distance to ensure that you survive them. So you could potentially like stand close to her, but like you just have some chances where you will take damage if you're too close.
And that was a really good fight from Googler.
Yeah, everything worked out for him in that one.
Stands on top of Calf, says no to Calf, because otherwise, like you get a dialogue option there, which is either like yes or no. If you say yes, then she will go on and lore dump on you, like what is going on and all of that, which spawns a bunch of more text boxes that you do not want. So you need to make sure to say no to Calf if you want to go fast. Oh, Linzolle gets hit at the start of the Arsonist fight.
That was really unfortunate.
Yeah, that was very odd, I would say.
It seems like Linzolle has a little bit of trouble with this opening sequence on Arsonist. Like, I don't know, she's not executing it. Or maybe she doesn't remember it right off the top of her head. Exactly what she needs to do here. She just seemed to kind of go with a safer strat than maybe the fastest could be.
And she was just very unlucky because when Arsonist decides to spawn orbs and throw out them, like those bouncy orbs that you can see right now, how fast they bounce or like how fast they move horizontally is random. And she was unlucky and got some very fast moving ones.
Yeah, she's scaring me a little bit when she stands that far to the left, right next to those barrels. I almost would have preferred I know she did survive, but I almost would have preferred she just shot that before she walked to the left. Because that's like that would have killed her.
Yeah, you can. Those barrels in that fight, they are explosive, and if you hit them, or if they get hit by Arsonist's attack, they will explode and damage anything nearby them. But on the second attempt, she gets through the Arsonist fights and gets the third crest fragment, and Googler has already made his way past the Fennel fight, because, you can watch an entire Arsonist fight, and the Fennel you will get to Fennel, kill Fennel, and leave before that Arsonist fight is over. That's the time difference between those two fights.
Yeah, I think you can do the Fennel fight like 3 times before finishing an Arsonist fight. Something like that, at least.
Yeah, and Googler is doing risky strats here, not taking any checkpoint saves here.
Yeah. He didn't save at the first save in the Pinacotheca, which is what most people do, so... Yeah, if he takes, if he accidentally hits a spike, or if he takes 2 hits, basically, it'll just be... Oh my, yeah, then that's 1 hit there. So if he takes another hit, he's gonna have to go back like 2 minutes or something. Something like a lot.
Yeah, and a lot of people also opt to go and unlock the checkpoint. If you continue to the left here as you drop down, you can go to the save point. But Googler doesn't do that. So
yeah,
Googler has opted out of saving twice now. As Linzolle does the Fennel fight, and Fennel is down very nicely. And yeah, and here you can see the setup again. You use the Tainted Missive to boost your damage. You use the Bachman Patch before entering the fight in order to make it instantly land on Lupiar. And then you use a Sparse Fit to finish it off. And you don't need to be in the biggest rush to do that, because Magnolia can only like jump down in specific cycles. So even if you were to kill Lupiar 1 second faster or like 3 seconds slower, Magnolia would still appear at the same time.
I can't believe he didn't take that save either. Oh my! And
Oh, Googler.
no!
Okay, yeah,
What
that
is this?
Googler's back. Did he save after Fennel at least?
He just lost. I think he's behind now. I think Linzolle's actually ahead of this race now.
Linzolle is ahead.
Oh my goodness! I was gonna say earlier. It looked like he was kind of like when he took that hit. It looked like he got a little bit off because he didn't do the cycle as fast as he did in one of the later rooms earlier. So I was like thinking that he should have taken that save just from a purely just like if he seems a little off, you should probably take that save just in the tournament setting. So like the fact that he didn't take it again after the fight is a little bit crazy to me.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, skipping the save in the middle of Pinacoteca still, opting to go for that long segment of not taking saves. Linzolle here takes the safety save after picking up the Sealed Wind, because Lupiar and Magnolia can be tricky to deal with. And Googler is grabbing the Sealed Wind once again for the third time in this race.
He's going for the fast Sealed Wind again, so he did get it this time, but it looked like he had a little trouble going for it earlier. Getting his roll jump set up and everything. And he's still going for every single strat pass, so yeah, we'll see how Linzolle does. It gets a really good Lupiar fight. Let's see, hopefully the Magnolia cooperates. And yeah, that was a good fight. No Lupiar rolling double or twice and ignoring all the damage. So still a good lead to have here.
Yeah, and the item that you get from Lupiar and Magnolia is the Heavy Arrows, which boosts the damage of your arrows by 100%. So stacking that with the Bloodstained or the Tainted Missive that you get from Fennel, that boosts your damage by 100%, and then the level 3 arrow charge, and especially with the buff from the latest patch, that melts bosses.
Yeah, it does like 3 shots pretty much any boss that has like high HP, and almost it one shots in certain spots for not one shots at this level, 2 shots for like some of the bosses. With some other attacks too.
Googler did get through Lupiar and Magnolia again. He's on the hunt. He did grab the save before going down here now, because he's at full health, which he should not be after the Lupiar and Magnolia fight otherwise.
He made it through anyway, so this time it's okay. Yeah. Once you get to this save, you're fine.
And he's not far behind. It's only this movement section here in order to upgrade your leaf to the green leaf. And but even with that, there's not a lot of the run left. Actually, there's only the final Karst Castle segment, which is it's not super tricky. It's actually a kind of chill section for being like the final area of the game. Like the main route you need to take through doesn't have a lot of enemies, so it's not as stressful as a lot of other areas, except for, I mean, the final few rooms before the Queen, where there are small platforms, lots of enemies. You do an intentional damage boosts as well. That part can be a bit hectic. But
yeah, that one's like one of the worst parts in Karst Castle, but the rest of it is fine. Oh, and as I say that, Linzolle takes a really unfortunate death.
And now they are very much synced up here. Same screen, same place.
Neck and neck. I wouldn't have expected that going into this to be this close for this match, but I'm glad to see it.
Yeah. Please, Googler with a little bit tighter movement there. Linzolle up to dodge that bomb and make sure that it doesn't hit her. And let's see. Googler is having a slight issue with the ladder, but still like half a screen ahead.
Yeah.
There, not a lot is separating our runners now. So the key to this fight here is that the real one is hovering slightly closer to the ground than the clones are, which is an oversight and not something intended. And but it helps us a lot. Both get the spawn at the far right. Still the same distance here as the damage boost. Googler have making the same movement mistakes as in the first round and doing the reset.
Thankfully, Linzolle didn't make the same mistakes she made in the first one, though. So she gets through it without taking more damage there, because I think she would have died this time if she took that same hit.
Yeah, Googler is a fourth of an elevator ahead right now. And is about...
Sorry, they're on different versions, so in theory, Linzolle has actually got a faster fight here.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that until this point. So in theory, if Linzolle does this fight really well, she could actually take the game.
But yeah, no matter what, Linzolle's pace right now is really good. This is a 25-minute pace. And
yeah, this is a really good pace. She unfortunately rolled, so she lost her level 3. So, ooh, and she missed it too. Oh. And yeah, so that unfortunately puts her a little bit behind here, because she now doesn't have the tainted missive for this phase 2. Whereas Googler's already in phase 3, so a little bit ahead. And unless anything goes really wrong for Goo, I think he will get this kill first.
Yeah, and there it is. GG Googler 25:05, a really good time. Linzolle not far behind. Definitely on a PB, on a nice PB pace here, unless something really bad happens here in the final phase.
Yeah, this should go. I really want her to do this really well. And it's only 2 level 3s and 3 or 4 melees, basically. So.
And there we go. GG 25:30. I think that is basically 1 minute PB flat.
Yeah, that was really good.
It is the tournament magic doing its thing again.
Oh man, I'm so. It's so sad though, because I'm sure she didn't know it. But if she had just done that fight faster, or if she hadn't accidentally rolled, she would have potentially won the second round.
But yeah, here we have Googler. Congratulations on winning this match.
Thank you.
And GG.
Thank you very much.
And here we have Linzolle as well. GG to you.
GG's.
Good game.
Yeah, those were some 2 very good races.
Yeah, a little sketchy on my part, at least.
The second race was really exciting.
Close.
Yeah. You
got
were
a neck and
PB.
neck.
Oh yeah, you were in the final Karst Castle segment. You were on the same screen, like
oh no,
until you enter the Queen fight.
Really?
I messed up the very first phase on the Queen.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. But otherwise, it was a really good run because you managed to get a big PB, right?
Let me look. What was it before? It was by almost a minute.
Oh, that was pretty good.
No, it was by 59 seconds. Was my
it wasn't a minute flat. I thought
it's never a minute flat. You like as hard as you try. Like even my Ava PB. In comparison to 2 stops, it's like just barely under a minute. It's just like, what the heck?
Yeah, those were some 2 very exciting races. So what other fun things happened in these races? There were some unfortunate mistakes. Oh yeah, Googler, you had some very unfortunate very unfortunate time after Looper and Magnolia in this second race.
Oh really?
I was one that I going into the castle sewers, I didn't take the save bell.
Oh.
And I took the hit off the first, or I took a hit from the first spider, and I'm like, okay, Like already, I'm kind of regretting not taking the save though. Come up to the second batch, just roll into them again. I'm like, really? Like, are you serious? Like, because I intentionally didn't take the save because, personally, I want to try a little thing where I want to take less safety saves, except for Adea, and I might have a few reflex spots here and there, but want to minimize it. The worst case scenario happened. I couldn't believe it, but I was ready to take on Peanut Kateka again. And thankfully, that actually helped me get through it, because that was pretty good still.
Yeah, because you got sent all the way back to after the Fennel fight.
Yeah, I
Oh,
knew
really?
it was gonna hit me hard.
That is like the worst case scenario when not picking up safety saves, especially in a race setting like this.
Yeah, it has me a little antsy, honestly. But I wanna try for it.
No, it was some really nice recovery, and with Linzolle, you accidentally or you got hit by a bomb as you
Yeah, in the
climbed through
castle.
Kar's castle. And as you respawned, like when you respawned after that, that is when both of you were on the same screen. You basically shared the same physical space, but just in two different game instances.
Oh,
And
really?
Yeah,
It was really close. You got
both
into
Oh,
the
shit.
queen fight. Even just the queen fight, you got into the queen fight like seconds between each other. So it
Yeah, you
was
both of you
really
killed
determined right up until the end.
both of you got the same clone angel fight with the far right spawn as being the
Oh,
correct
really?
one.
What the
And,
heck?
and both of you killed the clone angel basically at the same time. It was a really fun race to watch.
Holy crap!
That's pretty funny.
The constellations aligned.
We could have been going to game 3 if I didn't mess up the first phase. The queen.
Yeah, well, I was saying earlier because Googler's not playing on 107 from what I can tell, so you
Yeah,
actually would have
5B.
potentially had a faster fight there. So it was like so close. So, like, but you did
think
really well.
I-
Don't worry
I
about it.
released the arrows too early, is I think what I did. I didn't get the
I
full
think-
charge.
I think you accidentally rolled. I think you got scared you were gonna
Oh,
take a hit.
you're right.
So you
That is
rolled,
what happened.
and then you
Was
lost
I-
your level 3, and then you kind of once you lose that first level 3, it's so hard to recover.
Yeah. I didn't.
But you
I
did a really good job.
managed to do it though.
Yeah, 25-30 is a really good time.
Yeah, that was close. That was pretty close.
Yeah, I'm trying to open up the tournament bracket now to see what it will look like. But oh, here now it loaded. This means that. All right, so Linzolle, you will go down into so this tournament is a what's it called, double elimination. So you will get sent to the bracket of alternate success. That's I like to call it. It's my preferred name for it. And is where will you be placed?
I'll be going against
13.
Ronwim.
Yeah, down there. Okay. That's another match that can be scheduled. And
Yeah.
Gula, you will move on to round 3.
Yeah, I think I'm stuck, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, until Ari and Scarlet gets Rumelia Scarlet, that game happens, and then I have to face the winner of that one, and then the winner of the game that I'm in, you have to face. I'll have to, or it'll be either me or whoever wins that game against you.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry, I didn't word that very well.
No, it's good. It's good. I wasn't worried about that. All right.
Yeah, I think this was a really fun match to watch. It's good to be able to do this again, even though we had a little break in tournament matches due to not being able to schedule matches due to various circumstances, but that happens. It's always nice to be back.
Exactly. And just for me to do my first run after like a month or so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Is that about it?
I think so, unless anyone has something they want to add before we wrap this up.
I don't think so. Can't think of any other flubs I had. Other than just being rocky. Just overall. GG's though.
It was a very good game.
Yeah, GG's indeed, and congratulations on your PB. That is a
Yeah.
lovely PB.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess that is it for us. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Google and Linzolle, for racing for us today, and thank you, Matos Machine, for helping me provide commentary today. And finally, thank you very much, Speed Gaming, for setting all of this up and
True.
doing all of that. It is such a blessing to have when
Chat, give them your thanks. Because they deserve it.
they really do. Having this entire like infrastructure in order to set up tournaments like this, it makes it so easy, and it's so good.
Yeah, it's nothing on our part. At least, hardware-wise. So that's a lot of the, I guess, brute work. Is that a word? I think it is. Very helpful, though, and just, giving us info on stuff and that. I've annoyed them more than enough, so, personally, so, you have my thanks.
Yeah, so I guess that is it for us today. There will be more matches in the future. There are follow the runners, follow the commentaries if you want. We will be back at some point with more matches because this tournament is not over. And until next time, have a lovely evening, lovely afternoon, morning, whatever time of day it is for you.
Have a good one, everybody.